Oil is one of the most valuable resources on Earth. Every day, millions of barrels travel across oceans to power cars, airplanes, factories, and entire countries. But what happens when a country is placed under sanctions and is no longer supposed to sell its oil freely? Does the oil simply stay in the ground? Not exactly. Instead, a secretive network of ships, companies, and middlemen has emerged to keep that oil flowing. These ships are often called ghost fleets or shadow fleets. Their mission is simple: move sanctioned oil from one side of the world to the other while avoiding detection and restrictions. These fleets are commonly linked to oil exports from countries such as Russia, Iran, and Venezuela. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and controversial systems operating on the world's oceans. What are sanctions? Before understanding ghost fleets, we need to understand sanctions. Sanctions are restrictions placed on a country by other nations. They can limit trade, financial transactions, or access to certain products and services. When sanctions target oil exports, the goal is usually to reduce the amount of money a government earns from selling oil. But oil is incredibly valuable. Countries that depend on oil revenues often search for ways to keep selling it. That's where ghost fleets come in. Meet the ghost fleet. Imagine a shipping company that doesn't want people to know who owns its ships. Now imagine those ships constantly changing names, changing flags, and switching owners on paper. That's the basic idea behind a ghost fleet. These are not usually brand new ships owned by one organization. Instead, they are part of a large network of aging tankers, shell companies, traders, and shipping operators working together to move oil while staying outside normal oversight. Over the past few years, the number of vessels linked to shadow fleet activities has grown dramatically. Some estimates place the number in the hundreds or even over 1,000 ships worldwide. The disappearing ship trick. One of the most famous ghost fleet tactics is known as going dark. Most large ships carry a tracking system called AIS, or Automatic Identification System. AIS broadcasts a vessel's location, identity, and route. It helps prevent collisions and allows authorities to monitor maritime traffic. But some ghost fleet vessels simply turn it off. Suddenly, the ship disappears from public tracking systems. For days, or even weeks, nobody outside the operation knows exactly where it is. Then, the ship reappears somewhere else, often near another port or another vessel. This practice is known as going dark and is one of the most common methods used by shadow fleets. In recent years, maritime analysts have observed large numbers of tankers temporarily disappearing from tracking systems in sensitive regions, showing how widespread the practice has become. Changing names like a secret agent. If disappearing wasn't enough, many of these vessels frequently change their identities. A tanker may operate under one name today and a different name months later. Ownership records may also change repeatedly. On paper, the ship could appear to belong to a completely different company. This makes investigations extremely difficult because authorities must constantly track changing paperwork, registrations, and ownership structures. Think of it like trying to follow someone who changes their name, address, and passport every few months. The mystery of flags of convenience. Every ship sails under the flag of a country. This is called a vessel's flag state. Some countries offer ship registration services with fewer requirements and lower costs. These are often called flags of convenience. For legitimate shipping companies, this can reduce expenses. But for ghost fleets, these flags can make oversight more difficult. Ships may switch between different registries, making it harder to determine who is responsible for the vessel and its cargo. Flags of convenience have become one of the key tools used by shadow fleet operators. The secret transfer at sea. Now comes one of the cleverest parts of the operation. A tanker carrying sanctioned oil leaves a port. Instead of sailing directly to a buyer, it heads into international waters. There, it meets another tanker. The two ships move close together and transfer oil between them. This is called a ship-to-ship transfer. Ship-to-ship transfers are not illegal by themselves. They are commonly used in normal shipping. However, within shadow fleet operations, these transfers are often used to make the oil's origin harder to trace. Once the oil moves to another vessel, tracking its journey becomes much more complicated. Some experts describe these transfers as the heart of the ghost fleet system. Shell companies, the invisible owners. One of the biggest challenges for investigators is identifying who actually owns these ships. Many vessels are linked to shell companies. A shell company may legally exist on paper, but reveal very little about the people behind it. One company owns the ship, another manages it, a third provides services, a fourth handles paperwork. This maze of companies creates layers of separation that make enforcement extremely difficult. Authorities may spend months trying to determine who is ultimately responsible for a vessel. Following the money. Why go through all this trouble? The answer is simple: money. Oil exports generate enormous revenue. Even under sanctions, countries can still find buyers willing to purchase discounted oil. For buyers, cheaper oil can be attractive. For sellers, even discounted sales can bring in billions of dollars. This creates powerful financial incentives that keep the ghost fleet system operating. Analysts say networks help sanctioned oil continue reaching global markets despite restrictions. The environmental danger. Ghost fleets aren't just a financial story, they're also an environmental concern. Many shadow fleet vessels are old. Some are more than 20 years old and may not receive the same level of maintenance as modern commercial tankers. An aging oil tanker carrying millions of barrels of crude oil can pose serious risks. If an accident occurs, the consequences could be severe. Oil spills can damage marine ecosystems, harm wildlife, and affect coastal communities. Experts have repeatedly warned that older vessels operating with limited oversight increase the chances of environmental disasters. The insurance problem. Most commercial ships carry insurance. Insurance helps cover accidents, spills, and damages. But many ghost fleet vessels operate outside traditional Western insurance systems. If something goes wrong, questions immediately arise. Who pays for cleanup? Who compensates affected communities? Who is legally responsible? These uncertainties make ghost fleets a growing concern for governments and maritime regulators. The cat-and-mouse game. Authorities aren't ignoring these activities. Governments, intelligence agencies, and maritime tracking companies spend enormous resources monitoring suspicious vessels. Satellite imagery, shipping databases, and advanced analytics help investigators identify unusual behavior. When one loophole is closed, however, operators often find another. It's a constant cat-and-mouse game. A ship changes its name. Authorities update their records. The ship changes flags. Authorities respond again. New regulations appear. Operators develop new tactics. The cycle continues. Why it's so hard to stop? Many people ask a simple question. Why don't governments just stop these ships? The answer is more complicated than it sounds. The world's oceans are enormous. International maritime law creates legal limitations. Ships often operate in international waters. Ownership structures are intentionally confusing, and every enforcement action carries political and economic consequences. As a result, stopping the entire network is far more difficult than tracking a single vessel. A hidden system in plain sight. Perhaps the most surprising thing about ghost fleets is that they are not completely invisible. Many ships can still be seen at different points during their journeys. The challenge isn't always finding them. The challenge is proving exactly where the oil came from, who owns the cargo, and who controls the vessel. Experts often describe the problem as one of attribution rather than simple detection. In other words, the ships may not be hidden. The truth behind them is the future of ghost fleets. As long as sanctions exist and oil remains valuable, ghost fleets are likely to remain part of the global shipping landscape. Technology is improving. Satellite tracking is becoming more advanced. Governments are increasing enforcement efforts. At the same time, operators continue adapting their methods. This ongoing battle between transparency and concealment is shaping the future of global energy trade. And while most people never notice these ships, they quietly move billions of dollars worth of oil across the world's oceans every year, operating in one of the most mysterious corners of the modern economy. The source story of ghost fleets sounds almost like a spy movie. Ships disappear from tracking systems, change identities, transfer cargo in the middle of the ocean, and navigate a maze of shell companies and international regulations. Yet this isn't fiction. It's a real and growing network that plays a major role in the global oil trade. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next deep dive into the hidden systems shaping our world. Thanks for watching.